Okay, so welcome back, everybody. And today we are diving deep, real deep into this whole U.S.-China trade war
Trade war, yeah.
thing. I mean, tariffs are flying left and right, like some crazy ping pong match, but with like the entire global economy at stake.
Right.
It's wild.
It is.
So, everyone's talking about it, but like, what's actually going on? And is it really as bad as it sounds? Are we like on the brink of a full-blown economic apocalypse or what? That's what we're going to figure out today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good question. And honestly, there's a lot of noise out there right now, a lot of different perspectives.
Yeah.
Some folks are saying, "Oh, it's fine, it's just a little spat." Others are like, building bunkers in their backyards.
Right.
But what we're going to do is cut through the noise. We're going to look at the facts, the actual moves being made, and try to understand what's really going on.
Okay. So where do we even begin?
Well, this whole thing, this trade war thing, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. There's been tension between the U.S. and China for a while now, economically, politically, the whole nine yards.
Mm.
But things really started heating up this week when Trump announced these new tariffs on steel and aluminum imports.
Right. Right. And these aren't just aimed at China,
Yeah.
right? These tariffs are like global. They hit everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would he do that? I mean, isn't that like kind of shooting ourselves in the foot?
Well, the administration's argument is that it protects American jobs, right?
Right.
Bolstering domestic manufacturing. But there are a lot of experts who say that that might not actually be the case.
Really? Why not?
Yeah, like Ben Steele over at the Council on Foreign Relations, he actually argues that these tariffs could backfire and make U.S. manufacturing less competitive globally.
How does that work?
So think about it this way. If American companies are suddenly having to pay more for steel and aluminum, their production costs go up, right?
Yeah.
So their products become more expensive compared to like goods produced in other countries where those materials are cheaper.
Ah, got it.
Suddenly, American-made products are at a disadvantage in the global market.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about protecting American jobs. It's about like staying competitive in the global market, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely. And this is where it gets interesting, you
Sure.
know?
Okay.
Because it's not just about manufacturers and big businesses, it's about us too,
Right.
The average consumer.
Right. Because these tariffs, like, they trickle down, right?
Exactly. They create a ripple effect through the whole economy.
Okay, give me an example. Like, how would this actually affect me?
Okay, so think about like the price of a car,
Yeah.
right? Or a refrigerator. A lot of the materials that go into those products, they're made with steel and aluminum. So if those materials become more expensive, the manufacturers, they have to raise their prices to make a profit, right?
Right.
And then those price hikes, they get passed on to us, the consumers.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So you might see higher prices for everything, from cars and appliances to like canned food even.
Really? Canned food?
Yeah, because the cans themselves are made of aluminum.
Okay. So we're talking about like potentially higher prices across the board, not just on like big ticket items.
Yeah, it could affect everything.
Okay. So Trump's trying to protect American jobs, but like potentially hurting the American consumer at the same time. That's kind of messed up, isn't it?
It's a complex issue, There are trade-offs to consider. And it's not just about the U.S. either.
Oh.
China's not just sitting back and taking this,
Right. They hit back, right.
Absolutely, yeah. They imposed their own retaliatory tariffs on a bunch of American products. And get this, they did it even before Trump announced the steel and aluminum tariffs.
Really? So this wasn't just like a knee-jerk reaction, it was planned.
Yeah, it seems that way. Like, remember those tariffs that Trump put on Chinese goods last week, the ones targeting fentanyl smuggling?
Right. Well, China's retaliatory tariffs, they seem to be a direct response to that.
Oh, wow, okay.
They specifically targeted energy and automotive products, like trying to hit the U.S. where it hurts.
So how bad are these tariffs?
Well, they range from 10% to 15%.
So it's a pretty significant hit.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
Okay, so what now? We've got these two global superpowers, like, throwing tariffs at each other like economic grenades.
Right.
Is this like a full-blown trade war?
Not quite. Not yet.
Right.
What we're seeing is more like what experts are calling cautious escalation.
Cautious escalation. That sounds kind of ominous.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Well, it means that both sides, they're taking actions to exert pressure and protect their own interests, but they're also trying to avoid like triggering an all-out trade war, which, nobody really wants.
I was
That could be really bad for both economies.
Okay, so, like, they're playing a dangerous game, but they're being careful about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a game of chess. Each side is trying to anticipate the other's moves, trying to gain an advantage. But they don't want to do anything too drastic that would, like, completely derail the relationship.
Okay, so it's like a high-stakes poker game, but they're both holding back a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, so tariffs are one pressure point.
Yeah.
But are there other ways they're trying to, like, mess with each other?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more going on beneath the surface.
Okay, like what?
Well, for example, China recently launched an antitrust probe into Google, and they've also imposed export restrictions on certain metals that are crucial for, defense and clean energy technologies.
Okay.
So it's not just about trade, it's about strategic sectors that impact, like, national security and technological dominance.
Wow, okay, so zooming out a little bit, like, where is this all headed? I mean, are we headed towards, like, greater cooperation or more conflict between the U.S. and China?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And honestly, there's no easy answer.
Okay.
I mean, these actions, they definitely suggest that the relationship is becoming more adversarial, but it's too early to say for sure what the long-term outcome will be.
Okay.
There are forces pushing both countries towards cooperation, and there are forces pushing them towards conflict.
Right.
And the balance between those forces, it's constantly shifting.
Okay. So let's try to understand, like, Trump's strategy here a little bit.
Okay.
On the one hand, he's escalating tariffs, right? But then on the other hand, he recently walked back a tax on small packages from China.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with that? Isn't that, like, sending mixed signals?
It does seem contradictory on the surface, right?
Yeah.
One explanation could be purely practical,
Okay.
Like maybe U.S. customs officials were just overwhelmed by the sheer volume of small packages coming in from China.
Right.
But there's another possibility, too. This could be, like, a strategic move by Trump to gain leverage on other issues.
Okay, so he's playing, like, 4D chess here.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. So what other issues could he be aiming for?
Well, there are a few possibilities.
Okay.
The ongoing Russia-Ukraine war is a big one.
Yeah.
The U.S. is putting a lot of pressure on China to limit its support for Russia. And then there's the whole issue of TikTok and those concerns about data security and Chinese government influence.
Right.
So by easing up on the small package tax, Trump might be trying to incentivize China's cooperation on these other fronts.
Wow. So it's all connected. Like, every move has, like, multiple implications and affects different issues and relationships all over the world.
Exactly. And the stakes couldn't be higher.
Right.
This isn't just about the U.S. and China. It's about the entire global economy.
So like, what can the average person do? I mean, this feels so big and out of our control.
Well, one of the most important things is to stay informed, to understand the issues at stake, the different perspectives, and to be aware of how these decisions might impact you personally.
Okay.
Because, the global economy, it's all interconnected. What happens in one part of the world can have ripple effects everywhere.
Okay, so to recap, we've seen a lot of action in the U.S.-China trade relationship recently: tariffs, retaliation, strategic maneuvering, the whole 9 yards. It's a complex situation, and it's constantly evolving.
Yeah. And it's important to remember that these tariffs, while they seem broad, they could actually be a targeted negotiating tactic,
Okay.
aimed at specific countries. And this move, it has implications far beyond just trade with China.
Right.
It could reshape global trade patterns and have a major impact on the U.S. economy as a whole.
So a lot to think about.
Definitely.
And for you listening, I challenge you to consider this. What industries or products in your life might be affected by these trade tensions?
Yeah, it's a good question to ask yourself.
It's something we all need to be aware of and understand, because it could hit closer to home than you think.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Right.
But as always, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
So subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts on this whole, global economic chess match.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
All right. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and maybe stock up on some canned goods. Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Okay. See you.